Here I'm looking at another mid-20th century Bijar rug. This one is it's not nearly as ornate as we see in the newer ones. This is very much what they call a Kurdish Bijar, or a Garusi Bijar. Garos is the actual name of the Bijar language. The only meaningful way to tell who's who in Iran, because otherwise we have two choices. We call them all Persian, which isn't really meaningful when we're studying rugs, or we try and break them out into some sort of name of the group. And when we go and try and do those names, the only system I've ever seen that really makes a difference, unless you've got a clear-cut group such as the Qashqai, who have a recognizable tribal structure, but even then Qashqai is a language. The tribe is the people who speak the languages. We see a direct correlation back and forth. But here, with the Bijar rugs, we have Kurdish people who speak a dialect of Kurdish, I believe it's Eastern Kurdish, called Garusi Bijari, or of Garus of Bijar. When we put the I on the end, that represents the possessive. Now, back to the rug. This one, the dyes have mellowed out considerably. We can see at one end where the sun has hit the red and changed it. Better or worse, that's completely in the eye of the beholder, but different. This rug does not look at all like what it looked like when it was cut off the loom, when the woman wove it. She saw very different colors. In many cases, this can be quite attractive. The border design is probably floral. It's hard to see anything else in it. You know, designs, this could very well be a flower here, very much a flower here. As to exactly what that is, it probably started out as something fairly recognizable and then morphed over a period of time. This is what we get out of the villages. This is what the women weave when they're not working with a producer, where they're making rugs by themselves that then are taken, usually by their husbands, into market. Women very rarely sell their own rugs. It isn't so much oftentimes it's her money, but the man represents her in the marketplace. As we look at the pattern, we can see the remnants of the Herati pattern. And this derives from it, but over a period of time they've seen it, they change it, they work around it. Now, this diamond here that we see is generally the center part of the Herati design that we see in Bijar rugs. This is where she's given a very free-flowing interpretation of that design. Now, as we look at the, as I flip over the back of the rug, we can see on the one side where the sun has hit it over years, and this color is much more like what the weaver would have seen when it was on her loom. It's probably lightened up, but not nearly as much as it's changed on this side. This is one of the things. Rugs react to sunlight, they change, and then over a period of time we decide whether that's a good thing or not. Now, as I look at the back of the Kurdish Bijar, it's typical Bijar construction, one half of the knot tucked up underneath the other half of the knot. And what we see here is it's a very coarse rug. The knot count is relatively low, but what's significant is that in the mid-20th century Bijar rugs, they used a lot of wool. They used a thick strand of wool to tie the knot, so while it's not a high knot count, in many cases this rug may give better wear than the 300 knot per square inch Bijars. When I was in Iran meeting with the carpet producers, one of the things I stressed was that the newest Bijars are becoming very much like Saruks. They're too fine. They're losing the old-fashioned construction. We still have good maybe I don't want the nice. You know, the new rugs are nice enough. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're not made like the old mid-20th century and older Bijar rugs.